Welcome to Chaos, Courage and Coffee, the podcast for anyone who's felt like on the outside I'm holding it together, but inside I'm struggling.
And we do it with honesty, heart, and just enough coffee to get through the day.
Hello, Vanessa. How are you today?
I'm really good, thanks, Brett. How are you doing?
I'm good, but I've just been something's come up for me lately, and I'd just like to put it out there for everybody. Sometimes some of our clients get so focused on they are the problem. The problem is with them. But what if the problem is not me or our client? What if there's more to the problem than it's not all internal, is what I'm trying to say. Maybe it's an external problem.
Well, if they are not the problem, then we won't have any clients anymore.
Well, I think I disagree with that. Because sometimes we struggle to cope with the external problems, which then becomes we internalize that and think that it is us. So I'm thinking, what if it's not a an internal problem? It's a dealing with the external world problem.
Oh, and that's a big can of worms. If you want to talk about the external world, yeah, our culture generally, worldwide even, I'd say, without knowing all cultures. So, okay, not all cultures, but Western world, our culture really not set up well for us humans. Now, that's a bit of a blow because I know we've created it, but hey, these things happen. We create situations that don't work well for us. I think today's world it's not working for us. Look at us. We're in a state, we're overwhelmed, we're stressed, we're working too much. So, yeah, I can jump on that one that it's not us, it's the culture, it's the environment, it's the expectations. One of the things I have a big issue with is, I guess it's expectations. We're just so busy. We're trying to be unhumanly busy and wondering why we're not managing. I just think that's crazy. If you can step back and look at that, what you're trying to do is, and I say you to probably just about anybody, what you're trying to do is not really sustainable.
Yeah, you're right. We place so much expectations on ourselves, and we talked about this, I think, last week in our previous episode. We talked about, are we trying to do too much because we're so busy, busy, busy all the time? So if that's the case, if we are so busy, is it environment? Is it our expectation of keeping up with others? Is it our culture? I think all of those things come into play, in which case our problem with not being able to cope, or the problems we might be experiencing, is not an internal mindset, which is traditionally where coaches go, where we think we need to go in a lot of cases, but it's not always necessarily the problem.
Well, it's everything that, well, a lot of the things that clients come to us with is actually a response, a very, very human response and reaction to the pressures of the world. Maybe they're the expectations we put upon ourselves, but we put it upon ourselves because of what we see. Like, you take the mums, everybody wants to be this great, perfect mum, and when you see the mum at the school who does everything, she's on the PTA, she's doing the baking, you're kind of like, wow. And part of you wishes you could be like that. But then you've put this expectation upon yourself and you put a pressure on yourself and you feel guilty when you're not meeting this totally unrealistic expectation. Because I'll just add in this, it's slightly off topic, but what we do is we look at all the mums and all the good things all the other mums are doing, going, why can't I do that? That's like 10, 15 different mums, right? Each having their special thing they do. And we want to do all of those 10, 15 things. No, you can't. You can't do them all. You can't be the baking mum and the PTA mum and the, I don't know, all the other, okay? You can't do them all, but we want to do them all.
Yeah, and I think the mums aren't alone. Men and veterans, we're the same. We think we've done this thing and we should have it all figured out. We should have, and I don't even think it's exclusive to men or veterans. I think this is our society overall. We think we need to have all of the answers and be able to do it all. And as you say, it is not realistic. Veterans leave the military and they think they've got the answer. My life will be better when I leave the military, but they don't fit in. They lose connection and all these sorts of things. And so the problem's not necessarily in them; it's the new environment they're in, and it can be your environment as well. You think sometimes changing the workplace uh, can change your outcomes. You know, people are unhappy in this job, but they take the same sometimes internal problems externally, or they just don't fit. The culture is wrong, the expectations are wrong, the environment is wrong for them because they don't understand. I'm going to throw something out here, their own needs and what they need out of life and work and all those sorts of things. They're just trying to fill the gaps without a real understanding of what's important.
And maybe that's why they come to coaching. And I love you've hit upon the trap of I'll be happy when. Okay, watch out for that, guys, because I think we all fall into that. I'll be happy when, and then we fix all those things that won't be happy when this is sorted, when this is sorted, when this is sorted. It never ends. There's always more whens. It's a trap, people. It's a trap. I remember my kids saying to me, one of them anyway, years and years ago, and she said, I want to be successful like you. And I'm like, oh, what's success? And so we had a big chat about it because I think success is, to me, the ultimate success is just being able to be happy in life, and not every single day, but to have a happy disposition with what's going on, because there's always stuff going on. There's always wars somewhere in the world. There's always stuff going on at home, as in your own country. There's always stuff going on. How do you maintain, being happy with all this external stuff going on? That's the thing. We can't play that I'll be happy when. Because I tell you what, I'll be happy when all the wars end and everybody's happy and hugging each other. Might never be happy in that case by the looks of it.
Absolutely. Um, I think, and a mutual friend of ours had this discussion, or we had a discussion with him. He was saying that he focuses a lot on the wars and those sorts of things because it is important to him personally. He wants everybody to be peaceful and happy and those sorts of things. And so that really drags him down. Knowing that these wars are happening affects his own balance, equilibrium, if you like. And we had to point out to him that that's not his problem. And yes, ideally, great ideals. I've got no problem with the ideal and the principle behind it. But, and it is a big but, if we worry about those things that we can't control, we're not going to be happy, content. I think when you were talking about happiness trap, I was thinking about contentment. It is the answer or the word that was coming up for me. But I think it goes more, beyond that. I think sometimes the problem, as you say, we're so busy, we're actually exhausted and we can't do all of the things that we want to do or think we should be doing because we just don't have anything left. Or maybe they don't align with, as I say, the things that are important to us. And so we're trying to push a square peg into a round hole and it just won't work.
Well, the phrase I'm going to bring out here is we are exhausted. We are exhausted. We just keep running ourselves ragged and we're exhausted. And I don't know if I've told this story before, but many years ago when I was running a motel and I went to the doctor and I was feeling exhausted. And he wasn't really sympathetic at all. And he said, you're exhausted because you're doing too much. You're not ill. You're exhausted because you're doing too much. You need to cut back what you do. And so I thought about it. And I have to say, I did spend time cutting back what I did. Little point I will just mention, I did have blood tests and the result did say I had glandular fever. But that aside, I took what he said and I started cutting down what I did. And it took me 10 years of cutting back. And that's what I thought. 10 years later, I'd cut back and I thought, right, now I've got to a reasonable level. Well, hold on. Here I am in life. My kids are grown up. And now I've cut back even more, and I'm like, now I think I've cut back enough. So that, guys, that's taken me 20 years, okay? Because I kept thinking I got there. So think how much I was doing in the beginning. You are exhausted. You are pushing yourself and pushing yourself and pushing yourself. And I'm probably speaking to most of the people listening.
And I think, again, we've talked several times on our podcast about giving ourselves permission. And I think it's important to let everybody know it's okay to be exhausted. We do too much. We do so much. We are so busy. We place so many expectations on ourselves that it's okay to take that step back, to be exhausted, to acknowledge that you're feeling exhausted, and to start taking those steps back and start doing less. Yes, it can take time, but it's important to maintain our energy levels and to be content with where we're at. And if you're not content, then I know some of our conversations are saying we need to look a little bit internally, but it's not always uh, an internal problem, right? As I said, a square peg in a round hole doesn't work. We all know that saying, I'm sure. So what's going on? What are you trying to do too much of? Where can you cut back and start getting a little bit of rest and start taking care of yourselves when nobody else is going to do that for you?
Well, it made me think when we said we're doing too much, maybe I'm just going to amend that. We're doing too much of the kind of the heavy stuff, the hard stuff, the unrewarding stuff. So for the people out there, say adrenaline junkies, yeah, you're doing too much, but you live in it, you know. You're, well, okay, we won't get into things like all the excitement and all those sort of hormones and whatever, but the point is you're doing too much of the things that are dragging you down, and you're piling more and more on top of it. So maybe you don't have to do less. You haven't got to sit around like a couch potato. That's not you. Okay. But do some fun things, and they don't have to be extended time. But put in and think about the fun things, the things that feed you rather than drain you. So imagine you're like a plant, you need water. Okay. You can't keep giving fruit if you've got no water to produce it with, but you're trying really hard to do that. So one way to water yourself is, and I think we mentioned maybe last week about what I call my credits and debits, but you need to have some fun things in life because they will nourish you and feed you back. So you don't have to just cut down and do absolutely nothing. That's not what we're saying. But maybe just look at the things you are doing. I tell you what, it's a long list. It's a long, long list. And never mind, on top of that, all the stuff that's going on in your head that you're not even doing. All the stuff that you should be doing and aren't doing or didn't do. And you're beating yourself up. So your head's having this really busy time and your body's having a busy time doing.
Yeah, I think we forget sometimes the 80-20 rule. 80% of things in that we do only contribute to 20% of growth, or however you want to look at that or use that particular phrase. We still need to, and I think we've used it before about cups. We can't help or fill everybody else's cup if our own cup is empty. So we need to do the things that fill our own cup before we can fill others. And that's where I agree 100%. What is it in life that you really enjoy, and try to I'm going to use the word make the opportunity to do that thing that fills your cup.
And I know what people's response is. I don't have time. You know, that's their immediate reaction. Oh, it's all very well for you guys to sit here saying we should do those. I don't have time. So what Brett said is make time. Okay. It's like, have we said this before about a bank balance that if you when you get your wages, if you put your money into the savings first, then you'll actually save it. If you wait until what's left at the end and say, I'll save what's left, there won't be any. It's the same with time. Please put aside the time, even if it's 5 minutes a day to enjoy the sun on your face or 10 minutes a day to chat to a friend. Start small. Let's not make this an impossible task. It's just about shifting that focus. Stop saying you don't have time. Make time. And so for parents where your time is all going into your kids, you need to set aside some for you. I know we've talked before, you can't even go to the toilet and that doesn't even take a couple of minutes. But you need to find a way. You need to find a way to have time for you.
As an example, I ride my motorbike. I love riding my motorbike. And it's a pretty common joke, I think, amongst motorcycle riders. If they're going to the shop to get the milk, it'll take them probably 5 minutes to get there and 30 minutes to get home again, because they'll go the long way home and they'll go all the twisty, windy roads and those sorts of things. That's where you make the time. It's that little thing that starts out being a little thing, or it might be an important thing, that you incorporate something that you really enjoy into. And I think that's, if there's one little thing that people can take away from today, I would like it to be that, to make the time, set aside the time, schedule the time to do the thing that you really enjoy.
Okay, so to begin to wrap it up, we started off by suggesting that the problem is not you. The problem is our expectations, the world's expectations, the culture, everything that's going on today that we've kind of got drawn into. Okay, you can't help it. It's like if as I remember I live in New Zealand, and I remember my first visit back to England in years, and I arrived at Heathrow, and I just stood there absolutely with my mouth open. Everyone was rushing everywhere, and you get caught up. It's like a tide. You can't walk slowly in it. So this is what we are. We are caught up in how the world works because we're all connected. You can't help it. It's really hard. Unless you go and live on an isolated island, it's hard to pull yourself out of it. So you're stuck in this world that doesn't really work for humans. We created it. Yeah, I know. But here we are. This is what's evolved. You're in it. You've got to try and be your own island in amongst it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's figuring out what works for us, and not allowing the environment to dictate that this is who we are or this is who we should be. I think sometimes we see, like you were saying with your mums before, all the different mums doing all the different things, and you think, I should be doing that and I should be doing this. The only thing you really should be doing is being yourself. We get so caught up, our internal dialogue, if you like, that I should do this, I should do that, tends to take over and becomes our identity to some degree. We need to, I think, stop and take stock of what expectations we're placing on ourselves and what's realistic, and just, as you say, slow down a little bit, not let the environment dictate terms, not allow others to tell us, and just be realistic in our own expectations of ourselves and what we can and can't achieve. Yeah.
I think those are the main key points. There's a lot more I could say today, but I don't want to dilute what we've said, which I think is really, really important. So I really hope that you take something from this and start to think and just look at your life, evaluate it, maybe reevaluate it, make some change, just change something from hearing this conversation.
So I think the main things we've talked about it: slow down a little bit, find time for yourself and the things you enjoy, and be realistic. You can't do everything. So pick the things that are important to you and focus on those. Fill your own cup first, I said.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
No, I think that's really, it's been quite, concise and clear. And I think that that's really going to help people to be able to have a good think about it and make a change.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Vanessa, for this illuminating chat,
Thank
and thank everybody for listening.
Thanks for being with us today on Chaos, Courage and Coffee. Remember, you're not alone and you don't have to figure it all out at once. What part of today's conversation stood out for you?
This podcast is about showing up in the mess, not waiting until it's all sorted out. If today helped, share it with someone else who might need it too.
And if you're navigating your own version of chaos, we'd love to hear about it. Leave a comment, message us, or join the conversation.
We'll be back soon with more honest talk, less pressure, and just enough courage to get through whatever's next.
See you next time on Chaos, Courage and Coffee.